Although known for being the love of wisdom, philosophy can be much more than simply thinking. In fact, philosophy has stark similarities with psychology and mental health, and has the potential to be lived out and applied in an individual's life. With roots in ancient Stoicism, cognitive behavioral therapy is a fantastic example of this application in action. I had the opportunity to sit down with practicing Stoic Dr. Rob Colter of the Philosophy Department, who teaches a course called Philosophy as a Way of Life here at UW, to discuss what it means to live philosophically, what that can do for one's mental health, and the challenges that may be posed whilst doing so. So what counts as philosophy? Dr. Colter says that such a question is not easily answered, but believes that religion is often confused with philosophy. As he says, philosophy deals with reason and public knowledge and involves questioning and examination. This creates principles of intellectual guidance.
I actually am not satisfied with any account I'm aware of the distinction between philosophy and religion, or what really makes philosophy. A lot of times philosophy is opposed to religion, and the way that's usually characterized is philosophy is based on reasoning from publicly available evidence and or truths and or principles, whereas religion tends to be based more on things like revealed truths or traditions. There are some paradigm things we might think about with philosophy. One is nothing is beyond questioning. I think Socrates' dictum that the unexamined life is not worth living plays a really key role in living a life philosophically. There are some principles that you think have some plausibility that you use to guide one's life in a intellectually structured way, something that matters to you, that can shape your life. The things that really matter are themselves sort of mental in a way, right?
When asked what the effects of philosophy are on mental health, Dr. Colter says that philosophy aims at helping an individual live a good life, according to said philosophy. He argues that in several cases of mental illness, the sufferer's expectations of the world are constantly being disappointed. To live a good life, the individual must stop trying to make the world meet their expectations and instead make their expectations meet the world. Philosophy can help with this.
One key point of living philosophically is claimed to be that it helps us to live a good life. Most philosophers and philosophies have both sort of a conception of what a good life is and a conception of how we get there. So most philosophical accounts think that there needs to be some sort of connection. I think there's something pretty common to most cases of issues with mental health, and that is there's something that's not connected. Mental illnesses that involve delusional thinking. The thinking isn't connected with the world. My expectations hasn't matched up to reality. If I have expectations of the world that are constantly disappointed, that can lead us into being unhappy in a variety of ways. Getting those to match is really important, and there's only two possible ways to get those to match. One is to make the world map onto my mental life, which means I have to force the world to meet my expectations. Good luck. The other one is to adjust my expectations and my choices to the way the world is. That seems a lot more feasible. Not always necessarily easy, right? But it at least seems possible. So mapping what's going on in my head and my mental life to the way the world works is an important feature of living a good life, I think.
But this process is no easy task. Challenges can become present, such as age, biology, social expectations, and even just putting in the work.
Living philosophically can be work. It requires us to sort of pay attention to our lives and our choices and our reasons and our whys and our whats and our hows. And I don't think that's something that everybody sort of naturally does. There's a lot about our culture that pulls us away from the idea that we're supposed to really think through who and what we are and our place in the world. And so it requires a sort of commitment and a sort of attention to really central things in all of our choices. There are times in our lives where we're jerked around more by purely biological stuff. Lots of biological stuff can affect us. It's probably a little harder at a certain age than others. I'm reminded of a famous scene in Plato's Republic where Socrates he's an older man, he meets another older guy, and they're talking about how they're so relieved to not be jerked around by their desire for sex anymore.
In the end, philosophy is what you make of it. It's your wisdom that you are loving, and you are living out your idea of it. Challenges will be present and can make the strife seem worthless. But to reap the benefits to their fullest extent, one must move past these challenges and ensure that their philosophy leads them to live a good life. A life free of forcing the world to meet your expectations. A life where your expectations meet the world.